And welcome back once again to See It, Rant, Skip It here on VUTV Channel 10. Let's talk about our movie review for this week. World War Z was a film that came out over the summer. I saw it pretty quickly when it came out. I think I saw it the second week that it was out. Matt just saw it recently, and you see it over the summer too, Junior?
Yeah.
So it's been out for a while now. It's now on Blu-ray. You can catch it. Brad Pitt stars in it. Right off the bat, it's a huge budget film. You can tell the production value is enormous. The effects are crazy. There's just some really great CGI in this film. There's some really tense moments, some really cool moments in it. I enjoyed the film for the most part overall. I think if I had to give it kind of a rating, a number rating, I would give it like a 7 is a generous number, I feel like. There's some things that keep it from being a great film, and we'll get to that. Brad Pitt actually does a really good job in this film, I will say. And I was surprised by that because between him and Tom Cruise, I feel like you can't just see a normal movie with them anymore. Right. I feel like everything is just so grand and has to be just so, like, to live up to them, it has to be just so ridiculous. And I actually felt that this movie was very human in a sense, even though it was this crazy budget film. Something made me actually really like Brad Pitt's character in it. Like, he had a lot of charisma. He was like a good dad in the film. Like, he did things really well, and I felt like I didn't expect that from this role from him. So I was really surprised in that regard. What are some of your thoughts on the film?
Well, when I first started to see like the trailer for it and stuff, I was like, oh, another apocalyptic film. You know, we've been getting tons of them, but I was surprised by it. I liked it, but I feel like because you were just talking about the budget and everything, and I feel like they did limit themselves. Like, they could have gone further with it, and that was what was disappointing about it for me, because like they could have made it a different rating and they could have added more. It could have been more violent, and it was just kind of like mediocre. Yeah. So
I agree with his performance. It wasn't what I liked about it wasn't his character. I mean, ultimately his character figures out that he, the cure, not the cure, but
big secret.
The big secret,
the
right?
virus.
But it wasn't like he wasn't the one that was going out there guns a-blazing. I like that they didn't make him the best.
He was not a mercenary.
He wasn't the best Navy SEAL they've ever had that was decommissioned. He was just an investigator that worked for the UN.
Yeah.
And I like that he kind of took a back role in that. You could tell his inexperience with weapons when it came to, the one scene when they're in the grocery store, and the guy is trying to like loot his wife, and he misses the guy. You kind of expect him like, oh, he has a gun, he's gonna shoot him, one shot kill.
Yeah,
because he was talking about how he used to be involved in dangerous things and yada yada. But I like how they made his character not, he wasn't the macho head of the the mercenary team or the group that was leading them through these things. So I like that they did that. But if we get to the actual movie, and one thing that me and Mike were talking about yesterday, when it gets to the last half hour of the movie, it's a completely different movie.
Yeah.
And
that's very true.
It literally looks like the budget just ran out.
Yep.
It literally looks like they ran out of money.
I feel like the budget ran out, and obviously that's going to happen when midway through production. This was one movie that actually was supposed to be released, I think, in time for Christmas last year, and around that time in winter. But what happened was, the studios decided that they weren't satisfied with the ending of the script, so they called in the writers back to rewrite the end of the movie. And obviously, when you do that, you have to pay them more money and this and that. So that definitely did detract from it, because the last half hour just seems like a whole, like Walking Dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
It seems like the
That's
TV show
exactly
Walking
what I
Dead.
thought too.
The whole movie is so fast-paced, them running from these zombies that move so quickly, and they're all over. It's all CGI, which actually I thought was handled very well.
It did.
I thought it was gonna be take away from the film, but it didn't. It's all CGI. You have all these zombies coming after you, and then out of nowhere, you're just in a building. There's no zombies around it. The only zombies that are around are in the building.
Yeah.
Which I thought was, and I thought
convenient.
with how rabid, with how rabid these zombies were, I feel like these zombies wouldn't have stayed there. Like, if they got locked in there, they would have jumped out the window, try to get around another way. You know what I mean? Like, especially with how smart the zombies were seeming to be earlier in the film. Not smart, but they were figuring stuff out.
I agree.
And that scene there at the end, I felt like was never ending. It just kept going on.
It was so
and
slow.
on.
It dragged a lot.
Yeah.
They built up the tension so much, and you already knew what was going to happen. Like, let's be honest. We already knew the outcome of it. You knew that he wasn't probably going to die from some kind of infection. You knew that probably wasn't going to happen. Like, the idea of it was good. It's just that the rest of the movie did not have any of that feeling at all. The tone was just so off, like you were saying, with the nonstop action, the really exciting scenes, and that scene had good tension to it, but it didn't fit with the rest of the movie at all. It was just kind of completely out of left field, and it was like, all right, we need to really hit the brakes here. And literally, this movie came to a halt. You know what I mean? It was just a creep. It went from a train, fast pace, to just stop, and then let's creep through the ending, and then, oh, let's wrap it up nicely in a bow. There it is, you know, and that's it. And whereas it could have been more open-ended, I wouldn't have actually even cared if Brad Pitt died, to be honest. I mean, I thought that would have actually probably made the film a little bit better. It would have made him kind of like a hero, even more of a hero. And like I said, I told you, the original ending from the book, that's what I understood. I haven't read it, but from the book, apparently, there's no real cure. They don't find the cure in the book. It's just a war is started. So it's basically just humans that aren't infected versus zombies, and they're very bleak. And I think the studio has said, we can't do that. You know, we can't end the movie like that. People aren't going to be happy, and I can see why. I don't think people would have really been satisfied with that. Some people, it would have gotten a very different, I think, review from that. So I can understand why they had to, you know, change a few things, but you can definitely see two different films from it. And like you said, with Brad Pitt, I liked what you were saying about him not being like a, you know, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the film, you know, where he's like a Rambo, basically, where he's an intelligent hero, you know what I mean? Like, he sees things that people don't, and that's why they need him, because he's, you know, he's like the thinker. He finds things that other people do. He looks for things, and I love, right in the beginning of the film, which really sets up the film well, is when there's like the first attack.
And he
counts, like he's like the only one that's like paying attention to that stuff. Like I really liked that about it. It was just, it added a lot to his character and made you think, wow, he's not just some, you know, random guy. He's very unique in that regard.
And they like kind of slow it down at certain points when you can tell that he's starting to think about something, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it made you get inside his vision and see what he was
The
saying.
only thing I didn't like about that, I feel like they did it too early.
They
is
probably
because
did, yeah.
it was the first time him or anyone else has been exposed to that, and automatically thinks, I'm going to count and see how long this takes. I feel like after
maybe the second or third,
maybe the second time he comes
in
in encounter with it. Wait a second, how quick is this happening?
Well, and because those things were moving so fast, the zombies were moving so fast, I wouldn't have thought like, oh, let's stop and look at it. I would have been like, no, I'm out. Nope, you know. And that's what our mindset was. His mindset was like, oh, let me try and figure out what's wrong with it. But overall, I mean, honestly, if that first movie is 2 hours, that first hour and a half, I mean, it's so worth the watch. You know what I mean? Just the effects of it, the grandness of it, you can tell it's just something else. I forget where they are. I don't know if they're in India or where they are. Israel. That one scene. That scene is just incredible.
Yeah, when they're climbing over
running,
each other.
It's like bees swarming. It's such a cool scene.
It's like ants coming up to
really
build
cool
on top of each
scene.
other. Yeah.
And you had mentioned it too, how it just seems like wherever he goes, these things seem to follow him. Bad things seem to happen. I think it's kind of funny.
Israel was perfectly fine, and then he gets there, and they figure out to climb over the wall.
Yeah, the plane was, you know, kind of under control, so that's down, you know, and somehow he survives that. Go figure that one out. But I think it's worth a watch, all told, despite a couple stumblings at the end. I definitely think it's worth a watch just for the effects, and it's not really a comedy type film. It's got a little bit of comedy into it, but I really think it's a pretty tense action.
It's like a thriller.
Action thriller, yeah. I would see it. I think it's worth, you know, even if you can get it for like $10, I think it's almost worth a purchase too. Yeah. Just to see some of the effects in it.
Yeah, I would say to go see it too.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy it full price.
No.
If you can get it at Redbox, or if you see it in like, you know, the bin at Walmart or whatever, at Best Buy, I feel like $7.50. Yeah. I feel like it's worth it.
I agree.
I wouldn't buy it for more than $10 though.
No, that's kind of where I.
And I'd have to be really in the mood to watch it to buy it at $10. I feel like I would wait a long time
because now you know you've seen it happen. But if you haven't seen it yet, I think it's still worth a view at least once. And if you're into zombie films, you're gonna enjoy it because there's some really cool effects. So we'll take another break, and when we come back, we'll go over our upcoming picks.